So, good morning and welcome to the Dark Roast, everyone. I'm Donna Stroll, and I'm here with the beautiful and talented and somewhat under the weather, my poor dear Rose Short. And so today we are going to be discussing how a resource page can help you generate some affiliate income or online income, even if it's not necessarily affiliate, without selling, which is awesome, right? So
Oh yeah.
so that's going to be a big thing. It's an underrated income stream that you have an option because you don't really think about it, right? So it oftentimes is underused, and you can use it if you're a blogger or a business owner or just an affiliate person. It's a great way to make some passive income with your resource page because you're giving and sharing something that is helping you, right? So,
For sure. Yeah, I like resource pages. Linktree is kind of an all-in-one resource page. At least that's the way I approach it. But yeah, whether it's on your, a link in your blog or on your website or anything like that, super super easy way to have all of your tools listed and share them with everybody. And you can even do it as a free download.
yeah. So, I mean, you have some standard options, like you said. There, you can use a dedicated website, which is great for blogs and niche sites or businesses that have a website. You've got your fully customizable SEO friendly and branded, like all those things that you can do with it. And you've got monetization potential, with banners, pop ups, and retargeting ads, if that's what you want to do on your resource page. Then, like you just said, there's link aggregators. So, like Linktree, the Beacons is another one, Tap Bio. It's perfect for your social media platforms where you can only have like a single link, or you want to keep it down to a single link. It's a great place to put your resources. It's easy to manage and set up. Like Linktree is, or its equivalents are relatively easy to just pop in your links and off it goes. And if you're into multiple things, it's a great way to share off multiple links without having to, constantly either have a list that's way too many or be changing constantly within your Instagram or your Facebook or any of those things where you can only have a single link.
Yeah.
It's super
And you can
helpful.
also you can build collections within your link tree too. So if you're in like health and wellness but also make money online and also, cooking, you can build those out as different catalogs or categories, and then when people go, they can just look at, what they're interested in, or they can look at everything.
Yeah, and you can also highlight. So, say you've got something specific coming up, or something that you really want to promote, like say, a resource page or something, or whatever. You can put that at the top and make that more visible. And there's some alternatives to Linktree as well. I mean, I haven't used these, but I know they're out there and they're available. So there's a one called Pally. It offers a comprehensive social media management with a built-in BioLink tool. There's what is it? Shorby. It allows connecting custom domains and providing more control over your traffic and branding. Another one
Nice.
is called Replug. It offers advanced link management, so a lot more probably like Linktree. Features a link rotation for personalized campaigns. And then there's another one called WooRise, which has a flexibility with interactive marketing campaigns and landing pages. So, like maybe you have a lot of different funnels, this might be a great way. So, I mean, you don't have to just stink with Linktree. There are options out there. You just have to look at what's best for you.
Nice.
And then the last one we've got here is all-in-one solutions. So WordPress plugins or page builders. I know that what is it? System.io, another thing. So it has plugins with like Pretty Links or Thirsty Affiliates, Cloak Links, so that you can track your performance without making, and also have your links there without it being that big link, right? We
Right.
try to get away from that as much as we can. And then, especially with WordPress, you've got builders like Elementor or Thrive Architect, which can be real simple drag and drop customization.
Nice. I love drag and drop. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's made it a lot easier. I mean, when I first started doing web pages and started building out websites, holy crap, it was Frankenstein me. So being able to WYSIWYG it, so just drag and drop, and then what you look at is what you get. That's fantastic. It makes it so much easier for people who are maybe not super pros in the whole process, right? You
Yeah.
can always learn as you go that way.
Yeah. So, how do you create a resource page? Well, obviously, plan your page, right? We talk about planning what you're doing all the time. Choose the products and services that you genuinely use and trust. Again, be authentic, be real. Focus on niche related tools, which again is where having the ability to kind of categorize everything together um, comes into play. It's just a really handy way to do it. And then of course set it up. So decide where you're putting it. Use your dedicated like tools I love page or something like that. You can drop it in YouTube descriptions. You can drop it in your blogs. Use a clean, organized layout so that it doesn't just look like a bunch of jumble and mess or like super salesy. And then yeah, shorteners. So if it's a web page, try to shorten it as best you can. Monetize. We talk about this all the time, right? Use reputable links if you're using affiliate links. So, like, CG affiliate, Amazon associates, share a sale, stuff like that. If you're just doing products, disclose, right? FTC compliance is huge. And I think
Yeah.
we're going to see a real push in that compliance in the next couple of years, just because a lot of people have been scammed in the last few years. And so
Yeah, especially
it's,
worldwide, right? I mean, I
yeah,
know that we think sometimes we get very myopic and think US and as long as it meets those standards, but the world has different standards. So you have to look outside and make sure that you're um, complying, especially if you're reaching out, if your audience is in Europe or
yeah.
within the EU, because there's a lot of different rules there. Same with Australia and whatnot in other Commonwealth countries, or even in, India or Asia, they might have some different rules. So just make sure that you've got something that's really comprehensive that way.
Yep, agreed. And then you can have special offers, discounts, bonus incentives, things like that. But make sure they're evergreen. Make sure there's something that's going to stick around. Try not to do the Black Friday sales, stuff like that, because that's going to be ever changing. And if someone goes to your resource page and then tries to buy on the discount and they can't, they're going to lose trust really fast,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And then you
So
want to optimize your conversions, right? So you want to make sure that if you're going to be using this resource, if there's any calls to action that they're like get started or try for free, especially if some of your tools have free trials, make institute that call to action to let them know that this is something that they can grab right now for free. Make sure that your descriptions are compelling, and that they highlight the benefits to the people who are looking at it, not just the features, but the benefits. And if you have testimonials or star ratings, you can throw those in there as well. Same with social proof, especially if it's something that you're affiliating for. If you've got a couple extra testimonials that you can throw on there, that's fantastic. And then you got to promote it, right? So add a link to your social media bios, email signatures, newsletters, whatever. Share it regularly. And mention it if you do blogs or anything like that, podcasts, videos. Make sure that you're putting out the information that you do have this resource page and it's there for people to be able to access, because you're not selling the resource page, right? The resource page is not a sell. It's a gift. It's a tool that you're offering to people so that they can see the tools that you use and the ones that you find beneficial and why they're beneficial and what they do. And so that's super important because you're not selling anything. You're offering something up as a gift. You're providing an open hand, which I think is a great way to introduce people to you, um, and to build that trust, right? So, and then as always, you're going to analyze, right? You're going to track your clicks, your conversions, and any kind of sales that you might have with that. And you can use, your standards, whether, it's your Google Analytics or whatever information that is being provided with, whatever you're tracking it with, and keep it updated. because links come and go, right? Maybe a tool that you liked is no longer viable, or it's been outdated, or you don't like it anymore. Maybe they changed ownership and it's no longer something that you want to throw up there. I mean, we've been through that, so right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then test the different layouts, right? You test your call to actions, test your wording. Maybe it's too casual, or maybe it's not casual enough, or it doesn't quite match your branding, or it's not hitting your target audience the way that you want it to. Maybe it's too chaotic, whatever, right? You're going to have to test that, put it out there. It doesn't matter. And once you find it, you can sort of keep that that the way it's laid out. But initially, you're probably going to have to run through a couple of different versions at least to see what's hitting the most and keeping people involved.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, and you can use it as your lead magnet, right? So, I'm not a fan of the freebie lead magnet, as we all know, but it's a strategy because it works, right? So, you can absolutely use it as your online freebie, your free download, anything like that. That way, and you can have a little bit extra information on it too for anybody who's a subscriber or something like that. Um, you know, there's different verbiage you can use for it as well, that might entice people to grab it. So instead of like tools I love, exclusive tools and resources, right? We love those buzzwords. And you can add pop-ups, slide-ins, banners, like Donna said, and all that stuff to help promote it. But it's just another great way to get people interested in what you're doing and on your list if you're building an email list or a
Yeah.
blog subscriber list.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't have a dedicated web page for it, you can create a downloadable PDF guide. And the thing about using this as a freebie is it's so much better than, in my mind, I mean, this is purely opinion here, guys, is I believe that it's more valuable than here's my story and why this was such a great tool for a great course for me or a great product for me. I feel like a resource guide, you're really giving somebody something, you know, um, especially if you can make sure that they have things like free trials or low barrier to entry, or even just, a freemium version that they can then upgrade to. Because these are tools that people can use to build out their own businesses or their own interests, without having to buy anything. And it allows them to do more. And then because they will, I mean, your links, if you're using it to like if they have freemium versions and stuff like that, if they like it, they'll upgrade. When they're able to, they'll buy the better version of it, and then you're going to be able to make a sale. But you've given something that's of value, that's going to level up their game. It's something you trust, and also it just provides that level of trust and honesty back and forth between you and the person you're reaching out. So that's why I feel like it's a better way to do it, because you're still going to have those links. Like, this is the program I use to get to learn things. Here's some free information with that, and then the opportunity to upgrade is there. But there's no selling involved. It's just like, this is why I love it, right? And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
tangent.
Well, the story stuff, the tell your upcoming story, whatever. Like that stuff's all great for like a blog post or videos or evergreen content to sprinkle in here and there. But yeah, it does get so old. And like I know that every marketer is like, well, you got to connect on a human level, and you got to like make that emotional connection. But like sometimes you just got to put the facts out there and let the facts speak for themselves. Let's stop trying to do the emotional connection. Just put the data out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like you can't have a human connection by providing the resources, because you are telling them why.
Mm-hmm.
What about it really worked for you? Why did it work for you? Why do you have an affinity for this particular thing? And it could be something as simple as my pocketbook like it. My pocketbook's a friend of this. And
Yeah.
that's okay, because there's a lot of us that are working. There are a lot of people out there who are working with shoestring budgets, or want to invest, but they don't want to invest in everything. They want to put their money in a very specific or targeted area. And this, providing resources and tools that help them get the most out of that investment is not a bad thing. That's a connection too. So, and then of course you're going to promote that everywhere. If you're going to use it as a lead magnet, that's what you're going to promote, especially as a freebie. And it's a way to promote it without being salesy because you're not selling anything. You're giving them something that's actually going to be useful for them to build their business.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And then of course
And
ongoing promotion, right?
yeah,
So automated email sequences. I love a good CRM. I love good follow up. Encourage them to visit the resource page if they have any questions. Update it periodically, of course. Send the updated version of the list to your list, but to yourself as well. Make sure that it's coming through correctly. Make sure the links are working, all that kind of stuff. And then you can add an opt-in form directly to your resource page as well. So for if anybody like happens to stumble on it, or does the sees a video of yours, looks at your bio, clicks the link on your bio, downloads the free resource page, or like gets to the free resource page, you can add an opt-in there as well, and then
yeah,
they're on your list. So
yeah. Because I mean, you don't have to necessarily have a opt-in page for the freebie. You could just have that as a link that's available for people, and then that way they get the link and then they have the opportunity to opt in as well. So it's again, it's like that second level of trust. You're not forcing them to sign up for anything to get this. You're giving them the opportunity to sign up, and they go, "Oh, well, okay, yeah, sure, why wouldn't I?"
yeah,
Pardon us. So there are some statistics that we always talk about, especially with affiliate marketing. 88% of your consumers are going to trust online recommendations as much as personal recommendations. So that ties really into a resource page because those are your recommendations, right? Um, and because people are spending like what they figure 13 billion this year in affiliate marketing. So, I mean, yeah, get you some, right?
right.
And 65%, now this is an interesting one, of affiliate marketers drive traffic through blogs and websites. So that evergreen content is super important. So having that resource page somewhere static is an excellent idea and a way to really, grab your piece of that pie. Because yeah, businesses with a strong resource page can see up to 30% more conversions just because they have a resource page, just because they have some tools and some recommendations of things that they like and that they use, right? I mean, that's
That's
the key
awesome.
thing is things that you use. So if it's a tool you don't use, don't promote it,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. So that's where focusing on quality over quantity comes in handy, right? Is like, yeah, you could absolutely promote every single CRM that's out there. But if you absolutely hate, Aweber, don't promote Aweber. Promote the ones that you use and you like, because when you promote things that you're not using, if somebody has a question about it and reaches out to you, you're not going to be able to answer it. And then
Exactly.
it's going to become very clear very quickly that you are not the expert that you are claiming to be.
Yeah, and you want to use strong visuals, icons, that kind of thing to enhance your page's appearance, but you don't want to go overboard. This isn't like the all the bells and whistles thing. This isn't your MySpace page where, it takes 20 years to load because it's so awesome, right?
Yep.
And that's where you keep it organized, don't clutter things up, keep it nice and clean.
Yes. And split test. I mean, split test everything, but split test this as well. Test your CTA buttons, colors, link placement, all that kind of stuff. When you're doing the colors, make sure that they do match your brand. You can still do different variations of the brand colors,
Mhm.
but you don't want to do, if your brand colors are black and yellow, you don't want to do one that's like purple and magenta or, something like that. So keep it on brand.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't have the link in my head right now, but there is online, there is a site where you can go and literally get like color schemes, which really help it so that you can see how they they meld together and that they go together. And you can even choose your branding colors based on that concept. Like, I really like this color and this color, pop it in there, and it'll give you a whole list of colors that fit within that, those, like, I really like red and black. That's great. So here's all the colors that go with that. Right. And
Nice. Yep.
yeah. And that, it really helps with branding because it really helps you with, building out your website and creating your logos and all that sort of stuff. So just
Yeah,
a
Go High
side.
Level does their brand board now that you can go in and add like all the colors from your brand, and then it makes it a lot easier for email. So you can just pick
Yep.
from your brand board color scheme instead of having to go find the
Yeah.
code every time.
Canva does the same thing if you got the professional. Again, like, what is it, like $14 or something like that? I don't know.
Something, yeah.
It's not that much, but it has, yeah. So if you wanted to have a brand board and you wanted to keep all your information in, is Canva something that you use? Then that's, it has it there for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, so next week, that's pretty clean for us today this week. So next week we are going to discuss the power of curated content.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how sharing others' content can build authority and earn commissions when done responsibly.
Yes, I mean, if you're going to share other people's content, there is a way to do that, without it being, I stole this, right?
Yeah.
And also making sure that, what you're curating makes sense. Um, so yeah, I never used to understand what curated content was, and then I took a course, and they really got into what curated content was and how to actually properly utilize it. It was very interesting because that was not something that I had really considered before. So it really is it's an interesting way to do it, and it can be used very well. So I
Nice.
think that is it for today's episode of the Dark Roast.
Yes.
And I hope everyone's walking away with some practical tips and, tricks on how to create a resource page. Bottom line, be authentic, right? Be honest, because people might ask you questions. And if you don't have answers, it's going to show that, you suck.
Like, oh, you're just after the money.
Yeah, and that's never a good thing. That's not what we want. We want to make sure that we are always leading with an open hand and honesty and integrity. So
Yes.
that's it. That's all for today, folks. If you found this helpful, please drop a comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Your feedback is super helpful in growing this channel.
And of course, if you have any questions or if there's any specific thing that you would like us to talk about, drop that in the comments too. Happy Friday!
Happy Friday, everyone.